Om Namah Shivaya. Let's begin the day with the lighting of the lamp and prayer.
ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्युषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति 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 शान्तिः। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्।
Joined with us today during this auspicious occasion are Dr. M. Sethu Madhavan, Head of TIFAC Core Cybersecurity, Dr. Wing Commander A. Balachandran, Joint Director, Corporate and Industry Relations, Dr. Somasundaram, Professor, Department of Mathematics, Dr. K. Bhagavinar, Chairman, Council of Wardens Hostels, Mr. Gopakumar, Manager, Systems and Networking. Thank you all in accepting the invitation and gracing the occasion, and for your contributions in academic and administrative to Amrita for what it remains today. Thank you once again. Here we come to the 5th day of the orientation program to you B.Tech freshers. So let me give an overview of the day's program. The first speaker for the day, the addressee, Shri Shivakumar Palniyappan, Think Fluence Mastery Expert, Coimbatore. The second session on universal human values on harmony in society will be delivered by Dr. T. Palanisamy, Professor and Vice Chairman, Department of Mathematics. A video on integrated Amrita meditation technique and meditation will be run for you. Universal Human Values Session 5, Harmony in Nature, will be delivered by Dr. Nikhil Kotukar, Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering. So, we have the speaker for the day. Now, on behalf of the Amrita fraternity, we extend a warm welcome to Shri Shivakumar Palniyappan, Think Fluence Mastery Expert from Coimbatore. He helps organizations and managers develop their leadership potentials by enhancing their thinking, influencing, and mindset capabilities. He wants to achieve positive, long-lasting change in thought and behavior in the people and teams. With more than a decade of work experience in leading multinational companies, with more than 8 years of an experience in helping executives and leaders overcome limiting mindsets and behaviors to achieve greater success. He does this because he loves to teach and he loves to help people grow. As an executive educator and coach, he helps people understand how their thinking, communication, and behavior create limiting beliefs. Through simple and yet powerful practical methods, he helps people to achieve and sustain positive leadership behavioral changes. We're excited to hear from you here at Amrita. Over to you, sir.
Vanakkam, namaste, and good morning to all these wonderful, lovely brothers and sisters who are just entering into your first year degree in Amrita, Vishwa Vidyapeetham. Thanks also to your wonderful parents, your school, your teachers who have made who you are today. And thanks also to the wonderful faculty members and academic leaders in Amrita for inviting me to talk to all of you this morning. I would ideally want to see your lovely faces in the campus, or at least look at your chat windows and see your energy levels. But we are in a stream, a live stream. I'm going to just go on with the understanding, with the belief that every one of you, wherever you are in your homes, are listening attentively with your notebook, pen, pencil, taking a lot of notes in this session for next 35 to 40 minutes. Let's start, my dear friends. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer to yourself. Maybe you can talk to your mom, dad sitting next to you and answer them, or your sister, somebody at home. Let us go on, okay? Just try to answer this question. The question is, you are getting into college now from your high school, which means all of you are approximately in the age of 18 or 19, right? That's my understanding. In this age, from your network, from your family circles, from your neighboring circles, schoolmates, classmates, friends, look at all young people around you in your age group and try to identify number of people, boys and girls, who are greatly passionate about their life, their career. They want to achieve something really big and also working really hard to achieve that goal. Can you quickly tell to yourself, to your family members around, how many people you know like that? Just think about it. My classmates, my friends, my guys in my street, my apartment, my colony, my niece, nephew, at your age, right? Young boy or a girl in your age, 20, 21, this age group with a lot of passion, a lot of drive to achieve something really big, want to become an entrepreneur, want to become an IAS officer, police officer, want to get into business, want to place in some big multinational company, want to build something on their own, and really working passionately for that goal and that dream. How many of them do you know like that? I'll wait for a few seconds for you to answer. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, not more than 10. When I ask this question to all my young friends in all my sessions, I always get answers. Sir, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Sometimes I don't think I know someone like that in my circle. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Right? That's what I get from my participants all the time. Second important question in the same lines is this. Think about your friend circle, the same group, same gang, your classmates, your friends, your neighbors, nieces, nephews, and tell me, how many people do you know in your age who are just fun-loving, who are not having any great passion, great goal, great aspiration, just spending their time just like that, watching television programs, watching cricket, watching IPL, watching Big Boss, television serials, smartphones, Instagram, PUBG, gaming, spending time on the sofa cushion, chatting with somebody, doing meaningfully, literally nothing. Can you think about this and count how many people do you know in this category, second category, in your friend circle? Obviously, my dear friends, the answer is, I know many of them like this around me. Many of my friends, classmates, my neighbors, they're all like that, just spending time, passing time, browsing, chatting, doing a lot of things which are not very much useful, meaningful for their life and their career, and they're not really working really hard towards life and future. When I meet a lot of young people, I always ask the question, what do you want to become? What is your goal? What is your aspiration? The most common answer is, sir, I should lead a jolly, happy life, right? They say it in Tamil to me, jolly arkanu, sir. Ask, what do you mean by that? No, the meaning is ultimately, I don't want to do anything, just be there as I am. That's what people say. I want to enjoy my life. My dear friends, think about this. More than 80-90% of the young population around us are all completely distracted all the time. Yes or no? India is a country with full of young population, isn't it? Out of 1.3 billion population, more than 65% is less than 35 years of age. More than 50% of India's population is in your age group, less than 25, which means we are a country full of young people. And this young people, if you go deep enough and observe, most of them are not having passion, or not having goal clarity, or not really working sincerely for their goals and for their dreams. And that, my dear friends, is a big concern for me. I travel across the country to various states, institutions, corporate houses. I see this trend increasing all the time. Sadly, we have a lot of distractions today, yes or no? A lot of notifications or Facebook likes and comments. You feel missing out if you're not there in Facebook or Instagram. You want to post all the pictures, your food, your dress, whatever you do, you want to post in social media platforms. Let me tell you something very, very important, okay? This is not a very empirical research I have done, but this is purely based on my experience, my exposure of observing the society around me for many, many years. That is, my dear friends, if you have learned history in school, till grade 10 you would have learned history, geography, right? In history, there is a term called golden period of an era. Isn't it? Remember that? They say Rajaraja Chola and Tanjore is a golden period. In Chennai, Mahabalipuram, Mamalla period is a golden period. And Tamil Nadu in politics, they say the Kamaraj is a golden period as a political leader. So we have in our history across the country, different periods in the past were termed as golden periods in that situation, in that era, right? Why would somebody call certain period a golden period? Because in that period, the king was so benevolent, so action-oriented, with a lot of long-term goals, and he or she did a lot of development for the state, for the country, and for the people. They all lived very happily, peacefully, prosperously, and that's why we say that period is called golden era in history, certain periods, right? Likewise, if we can decide and define a golden period for a human being in terms of years, right? The moment we born till we die, draw a graph, x-axis, right? So there is an x-axis, there's y and x-axis. The day you are born till you go and die, we'll all die, obviously, yes or no? One day we have to go anyway. In this, if you draw this age curve from your day of birth to day of death, in this whole x-axis period, which period can we term it as a golden period? Think about this. Think about this. Discuss with your parents and your friends in your room or in your home and try to get answers. Which age group can be termed as a human being's golden period? Is a newborn age where there is no problem. Everybody is taking care of us. They bathe us, they feed us, they kind of cuddle us, they put us to sleep. We get a lot of attention. Everybody wants to see us, lift us. Is that the golden period? Or a school going age, college going age, a young age? Or you got married, settled down in life, and then you have children, you have built a career, or old age after 60, 70 years. Somebody told me, sir, after 70 is a golden period, sir. Why? No, I've done everything, parents, settled down my children, I've got retired, earned my money, I can relax back in my easy chair, read newspapers, enjoy life, and that is what is golden period for me. Some notorious young boy told me, sir, in my mind, the golden period is 28 to 30, sir. I asked why. That's when we get married and we go to honeymoon, sir. Right? People have different ideas. If you go deep enough and study, my dear friends, I understand, I believe the golden period in a human being's evolution life is from the age of 18 to 28, 10 long years. Why do I say so? Think about this. Look at your society, your family, your neighborhood, okay? Look at people around you. If you look at people around you, okay? if you observe very carefully, people who understood the secret very well and put in sincere effort to go to right university, right course, build knowledge, build skills, get into a first job, build a business, settle down there, grow a few steps, move ahead reasonably well in these 10 years, are always living a considerably comfortable, growing life in the next part of their life, entire life. People who did not understand this golden period, who simply wasted this 10 years by not doing anything meaningfully, by playing around, having a number of careers, not focusing on their dream and passion and career, just roaming around streets, browsing internet, watching cinema, Netflix and online platforms, careless, carefree, mindless, useless people, right? These boys and girls, these people who spent their 10 long golden period meaninglessly, not using properly, if you observe them very carefully, these crowd, right, this category will always be struggling in their life to survive in the second half of their life after 28, 30. Do you agree with me, right? So because in life, what you do at this young age decides a lot in the future. If you go to gym, if you are a runner, if you are a sports personality, if you keep your body healthy and fit, in these 10 years, believe me, this fitness, even if you don't exercise after 30, will come along with you for a long time, because this fitness at this age will get set in the body, and this will help you to stay healthy, stay fit for longer years. If you sit down and put your focus and plan your dream, plan your career, learn, understand, build skills, do a lot of things in this 10 years, this lessons that you learn, this experience that you gain will definitely come handy to make your life much more better in the future. So everything in our life is largely based on what you do in this 10 years, which I call golden period. Unfortunately, my dear friends, you people, boys and girls, my dear brothers and sisters, are just entering inside this golden period, which means you are lucky, you are blessed, you have 10 long years to build yourself completely on what you want to become in life. Why do I say so instantly? The reason is this, okay? Imagine this, you come to college, you get into Amrita University, you stay there for 4 years in this wonderful lush green mountains, you learn, you become much better, you come out from the college, go to a job. See, look at this. If you complete your degree at 22, 23, you go to US or MS or MBA, whatever you do post-graduation, if you go into a job in the age of 25, approximately an initial job or build a business. Understand this, my dear friends, in our country, retirement age is 58 to 60. Officially in all government roles. But in many other places, you can work as long as you're healthy, physically, mentally. In politics, people work till 1995 also. In academia, many other places, look at Ratan Tata, he's 85 plus, still active in the business, doing a lot of mentoring, investing. So in this world, we can comfortably do a lot of things till we die. So even if approximately if we take, you are active doing something till 65 years of age, which means 25 to 65, you've got 40 long years in your hand to do something meaningful for yourself, your family members, your future spouse, your children, your generations. You have to do something, isn't it? You have to earn your money. As of now, you are lucky because parents feed you, they give you all the money, they pay you the fees, they buy all the shoes and dress and books and laptop and smartphones, bike and car, everything parents give you, there is no problem. But from 25 onwards, you have to start earning your own living. Take care of yourself financially, your career, your family in the future, your parents, their medical requirements, life, a lot of things are going to happen in life. Which means ask yourself, what am I going to do in these 40 years in my life? Will I become an employee of a company, stay there forever, grow there, become better? Will I build my business? Will I write an examination, become an officer? What is that you want to do with your life for this 40 long years? Whether you are a man or a woman, no matter today in this world today. Having that clarity, my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, my career is the fundamental step, my dear friends, to start your meaningful life. So today, I want every one of you to go back in the evening, sit down, take a bunch of papers, start writing down what are my strengths, what are my passion, what do I want to become in life, what is my career goal, What will I do towards that career goal in the next 4 years inside this wonderful campus, Amrita? I've come here to become a passionate engineer. I published a book titled Become an Engineer a couple of years ago, right? So I want to become a passionate engineer. I want to learn mechanical engineering, automobile, electrical, electronics, computer science, civil. So come into the organization, into the academic institution, learn things very properly, go to laboratories, go to hackathons, go to competitions, become a hands-on practical engineer, not just you read theory, memorize, write examination and move on. Understand this very clearly, my dear friends. Technical education is a practical education. I am not undermining other courses, history or science or geography or politics, literature, everything has its own benefit advantage. But this program that you have chosen, technology course, engineering and technology, is a purely practical subject, right? Unless you get inside, get your hands dirty, fold your sleeves and do things practically, you will not become a true real engineer. But unfortunately, you know what? Most of our engineers, I'm sorry, not engineers, most of our engineering graduates who come from colleges are just graduates, not real true engineers. Okay? Why? Because they've come to college, very studious, very sincere boys and girls, attend all the classes, take a lot of notes, memorize all the formula, write examination, get a good pass mark every semester, 4 years gets over, come outside. Oh my God, I got my degree, sir. But you know what? I don't know the electrical technology. I can't fix a motor. I can't fix a light bulb. I can't fix a fuse carrier in my home, as simple as that. I can't repair a motorcycle. I can't put bricks and build a wall because I've learned theory in the classroom. I've never learned practical demonstration, doing things. With all due respect to our wonderful, lovely faculty members, let me tell you, my dear friends, what you learn inside the classroom is not more than 30-40% of your subject. It's only 40 hours, of course, right? Every subject is 40 hours, limited time period. In that time window, you'll only learn some part of the course subject. But the question is, are you developing on that? Are you taking class notes, key hints, going to library, going to internet, developing that into a larger understanding, current technology, practical reality, getting into the laboratory, building your own car, building your own vehicle, building your own building or idea, building your own application or a motor or whatever it is. Are you doing and building? That is what will make you an engineer. The point I want to convey is, in the next 4 years, number one is have a great clarity on what you want to become. Number two is start putting yourself completely into the course. Do you get what I'm saying? Give yourself completely, immerse into the campus for next 4 years. Jump inside the sea, right? Jump inside, immerse yourself, go deep inside and try to learn practically, theoretically as much as possible in the next 4 years. In case if you say, sir, you know what, I'm not coming to engineering just for my degree, sir. My parents are pushing me into engineering. My passion is to go into IAS, UPSC, MBA, whatever it is. Start working on that from a day one onwards. Don't wait for 4 years when the placement comes into the campus. You know what happens? Many students, I go to colleges, right? What they do is they'll be playing around for 3 years with friends, examinations, semesters. They'll just go on and on. In the third year, somebody will come and say, guys, you are in third year now, have to go to final year. There's a placements coming in, get ready for that. Now they go quickly and then try to find and write a resume. Okay, what they do, they write a resume. How do they do? They copy the senior's resume and then copy paste it, change their name, address, everything. That's all. I went to a college 3 years ago to interview a couple of students. Okay, you know what? I interviewed a bunch of boys and girls. One young person came to my interview. I asked a lot of questions, HR interview, address, everything was there in the resume about parents and background. This person went outside, second person came, and the second person also exactly had the same address, same parents' name, same location. I asked, are you sisters? Are you brothers? No, sir. Are you twins? No, sir. How come? Oh, sorry, sir. I copied from my friend. I forgot to change my address. Change the parent's name in the resume. And that is how most people write resumes, my dear friends. What I want you to do is, do not write resumes in the third semester. From first semester onwards, start building resumes. Start building resumes. Understand the difference. Resume writing and resume building. Resume writing is doing nothing for 3 years. In the final year, jumping on to open a Word document, copying somebody's resume, adding your name and changing things. It will be empty largely, 1-2 pages, some mark and percentage, nothing much there. But if you are somebody consciously building resume from every semester, can I add something to my resume? Maybe, can I go to a hackathon? Can I go to a competition? Can I go to a business plan competition or a software code competition? Can I present a paper? Can I go to a conference seminar? Can I build a mini project? Can I contest somewhere? So start doing a lot of things and try to build your resume from semester 1 onwards continuously. When you go to final year, my dear friends, your resume will look like a solid technical contentful resume. And that's what industry wants today. Practical knowledge, practical experience and exposure, right? Understand this very clearly. Have a great clarity on what you want to do in life. Second one is ensure that you jump inside completely for next 4 years, immerse yourself, do a lot of things in the academic system to learn theory and practice. Third important point I said is do not write resume in the third year. From now onwards, from today onwards, start building your resume and you're going to be a very powerful engineer end of 4 years, right? That's very important. And last important point I want to tell you to this is very, very critical in my mind, okay, to young people. About your relationships, about your emotions. I'm sure you have a class after this on values and principles, but I want to quickly touch upon this, my dear friends. I was born in a very simple, very, very humble rural family to agricultural parents. My mom and dad did not go to school. My dad had a very old TVS moped. As a young boy, school going, college going boy, when I take this TVS 50 moped, he will start annoying me, troubling me all the time. Don't take this moped, don't do this, be careful, be watchful, hold the brake, go slow. That moped only will not go beyond 20 km/h speed, okay? Somebody can walk and overtake me. Such an old moped. But he will never allow me to take that moped. He will give a lot of restrictions, conditions. Don't do that. I get frustrated all the time. Why this man is troubling me all the time? He's not educated. He's from simple rural village and he's troubling me all the time is what my concern was always. I was angry. I was upset, as every one of you do, right? Throw a tiffin box. Don't talk to my mom for 3-4 days. Don't eat lunch. Don't carry lunch. I had done all kind of tantrums with my parents as a young boy or in your age, 18, 19 in college. Okay. I couldn't understand them because I was educated. I went to school. I had a lot of friends from different big families. They had computers then. They had a lot of bikes then. I couldn't afford anything, but then I was so upset, angry at my parents. So angry at them. When I got married, when I got my son, this happened 8 years. My son is 11 years old now, okay? I was with Bosch 8 years ago. One fine evening, I came back from my Bosch, my company, as a HR manager, a tiring day with a lot of work, a lot of tension, emotional outburst. I was so tired. I came down that evening. I was so down physically. I went inside, refreshed myself, changed. I sat on my sofa, just closed my eyes, I was relaxing. I saw my 3-year-old son climbing on that window, right? The door window. He was climbing on the window to the top, jumping from there, climbing and jumping from there. I got so angry. I said, come on, if in case you break your leg, you break your ankles, don't jump, don't do this. I was putting a lot of restrictions on him actually. My wife from the kitchen shouts, you know what? He's been doing this for the last 3 days. He's an expert at climbing and jumping from the window. Nothing will happen, don't worry. That moment, my dear friends, I realized something very, very deep in my life. That is, the primary instinct of a parent is always to protect their children. Do you agree with me, yes or no? Look at this little mother cat. A cat will normally not fight with the dog. But a cat giving birth to small kittens will ferociously fight a huge dog because the mother's instinct to protect children is much more stronger than any other emotion in this world. I understood my dad, my mom were controlling me, not because they don't want me to explore this world, but they want me to be careful, want me to be safe, and they were protecting me all the while. And that's how they were parenting me actually. And what is the point in complaining to them? I realized that this profound, deep lesson in my life. Then I went back to my dad, my mom, built my relationship with them. And unfortunately, last year, January 1st, my dad passed away, right? I can very proudly say today, what I am today is only because of my mother and my dad, who were not educated, illiterate farmers, but they gave every single sweat and blood and penny only to educate my sister and me. Which means in this world, my dear friends, there is nobody in this world who's loving you unconditionally much more than your mom and dad. But for some reason, you know what happens? We are unhappy, we are upset, we are not getting what we want, you are not buying the bike or a smartphone, iPhone. So we create all kind of tensions in the family, isn't it? I want you to humbly request you to understand this. Your parents, your mom and dad are the most significant people in your entire life. Of course, friends are important. I'm not saying no to it. But if you're not keeping well, my dear friends, if you got COVID positive, nobody is going to come next to you and help you, feed you. It's your mom, it's your dad. Yes or no? Yes or no? As a young adolescent, college-going kid, I want you to tremendously understand the value, the effort that your parents put for your education, for your life, and make use of this next 4 years meaningfully well, my dear friends. Make your parents proud. Respect them. Treat them very, at times they're from old generation. Come on, yeah. They never had smartphones. They never had Instagram and Facebook. They come from old generation. They might not understand your mindset at times. It's okay. That's how they are. You accept it and move on in life. What's wrong with that? So number one, my dear friends, is make your parents proud. Make your parents proud. It's very, very important. When was the last time you hugged your mom and dad tightly and said, Mom, Dad, I love you so much. Thank you for everything. Today, after the class, I want you to do it, my dear friends. If they've gone to office, let them come back in the evening. First thing you do today is hug your mom, dad tightly and say, thank you so very much, Mom. Thank you so very much, Dad, for whatever you've done to me in my life. Why do I say so? Understand this, my dear friends. In my experience of working with a lot of young boys and girls, I understand youngsters who do not have this deep emotional anchoring in the family are bound to go haywire in society. Are you getting this? I repeat what I said. Young boys and girls, youngsters who do not have a deeply anchored emotional bonding in the family, either with mom, dad, grandparents, sister, brother, niece, somebody in the family, if that emotional anchoring is not there, these children are easily distracted by the society around us that is always playing negative around us, right? The cinema, the social media, some random fellow in Facebook, a lot of distractions can knock you off in life and you will become a completely useless person in the next couple of years. So do not allow that to happen. Be strongly anchored in the family. For that, you have to understand your parents from deep within. Accept them as it is, as they are. Love them to the core. Every day, talk to them from hostel. Share them what happened in the class that day. Connect with them very closely. And make them really, really proud about you in the future, my dear friends. Make your parents proud. Second important point I want to tell you is your institution. Amrita, Vishwa, Vidyapeetham. Such a phenomenal campus it is. I've been there many, many times to address students, to meet the faculty members, and you are truly blessed to be inside such a phenomenal ambience, which is built only to focus and learn actually. It's not in the city, I can't go to movies. People will have a lot of complaints actually. But in reality, I believe there is no such place as Amrita in this region where you can go, focus deep enough, learn not only technical information, but also spiritual values from the culture they built in the campus. So in the future, make your campus proud. Become a proud alumni of Amrita. Maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I want your college to call every one of you like this to come and talk to your juniors in the future. Can you go to that level? Can you become an entrepreneur, CEO, senior manager, vice president, business owner, really, really something very well in the career, and the college will say, these are my alumni. They came from our college. Can the college feel proud about you, your achievement, your future? Your faculty members feel proud about you. Number one is make your parents proud, make your institution proud. Number three, and most very important component, my dear friends, is you listen to all great leaders. Dr. Kalam sir, Ratan Tata, look at all great achievers. Everybody invariably say, my teachers, my faculty members played a very significant role in my life and my career. Do you agree with me? In my life, my dear friends, I had so many wonderful teachers who blessed me. I had a Tamil teacher in my primary school, secondary school, I think. In grade 8, I was watching all these famous speakers on television, Tamil orators, and I said, I want to be a very powerful speaker. I told my classmates, you know what? I want to be a very powerful speaker. They laughed at me and said, first learn to speak properly, then you can be a powerful speaker. Why? Because at that age, I was a bit stammering here and there. I was not speaking fluently, comfortably well. But that day, my Tamil teacher changed everything in my life. He asked in the class, there is a speech competition coming in, Tamil speech competition. Who want to participate? I was very active in Tamil class. I loved Tamil. I was doing a lot of activities, answering. He said, Siva, do you want to participate? I said, sir, no, I don't want. Why? I don't want, sir. Please leave me. Why? No, my friends told me that I have to learn to speak first and then I can become a speaker. He made a very profound statement, my dear friends, that completely changed my perspective. And he said, listen, my dear, other people's opinion about you need not be your reality. Are you getting this? Other people's opinion about you need not be your reality. Do you think you can become a speaker? Yes, sir, I think I have the desire in me, but I'm not that confident. He said, come to my cabin in the evening. I'll coach you and train you. And he gave me assignments every day to prepare a speech, come and talk in front of him. And only because of him, my dear friends, today I'm leading my life as a professional speaker, going across the globe, delivering talks and speeches. So one teacher will change your life. You don't know who it is. One professor can change your life. You don't know who it is. So when you come inside the campus, look at your professors, build relationship with them, connect with them, learn from them, respect them, revere them, make your faculty members proud in the future. And the last important point, my dear friends, is college is a time where you build stronger, deeper, long-term bonding and relationships. Of course, school friends are there, but it's a young age friends, you play, you laugh and move on, but there is no deeper emotional bonding, understanding in school friendship. But in college, where you are matured enough to understand one another, a boy or a girl, whoever it is, you are matured to understand them, their feelings, their behaviors. So my humble request to you is make your friends proud, build stronger, deeper relationship, friendships in campus. Learn to respect everybody, every boy, every girl. So understand this, right? Like you, every one of them are coming from different families, different backgrounds. We don't know what problems they have back at home. They're still coming to college, studying, doing something really hard to achieve something big. If possible, be a motivator. Support them, be a cheerleader, help your friends. Otherwise, please don't demotivate somebody, pull down somebody, bully somebody. That happens in campuses, I see all the time. In many, many other campuses, I see this. So when you come inside the campus, ensure that you respect every girl, every boy for what they are, who they are, with dignity, create that friendship, genuine friendship in them. And that is what is going to help you grow in the future, my dear friends. I'll quickly summarize what I said. Number one is clearly understand that the golden period for a human being is from age 18 to age 28, 10 long years. You are blessed starting now in the first year of the golden period. So please ensure that you make use of this 10 years very powerfully, meaningfully well. This will make a huge difference in your future, my dear friends. Number one. Number two is you have to do something for 40 years in life, from 25 to 65 or 70, 80 also, if you live hale and healthy with all blessings of your parents and the Almighty. So ask yourself, what is that I'm going to do in the next 40 years? What is my job? What is my career? What is my passion? What is my personal vision statement that I want to write for myself? Bring great clarity on your future goal, career aspirations, life aspirations, number two. Number three is Immerse yourself completely inside the campus, inside the course you have taken. Give your 100%. Learn theory in the classroom, learn practicals in the laboratory, learn outside the classroom. Don't do resume writing in the third year. Start building your resume from a first year onwards, right? So don't do resume writing, start resume building. And fifth important point is respect and river. Live a dignified, meaningful life in the campus. Respect your parents, respect your institution, respect your teachers, respect your friends. Make everyone proud about when they think about you. And the last important point, my dear friends, is in such a large country with a lot of young people, this future of the nation is in the hands of every one of you. So be a responsible citizen of this Indian Republic. Thank you so very much for listening to me. Wish you all the very, very best. God bless you. Maybe sometime in the future, I'll come to your campus and see you in person. Wish you very, very good. Do well, become a wonderful engineer. Take care and God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
making the viewers understand the golden period of life and how effectively, when used, this period benefits the later years. That was all facts brought to you, students. Hope it made you to think progressive. Let the service you render to the society, sirs, in promoting minds keep going. Our prayers with you. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you once again. So we come to the next session of the day. Our fourth UHV session, Harmony in Society, is offered by Dr. P. Palanisamy, Professor and Vice Chairman, Department of Mathematics. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Namashvaya. Good morning to all these students and parents who are just listening to this orientation session for quite a week time. And in fact, I also joined to listen to the lecture of the previous speaker for the last 30-40 minutes. So you all would have got a lot of inspiration from his speech. And in continuation of today's program, so I am here to present about harmony in society as one of the sequence of this Universal Human Values sessions. So it's quite understandable for everyone that what do we mean by harmony in society? Let me go with the content about harmony in society now. Yeah. So this you would have heard from my predecessors who talked on universal human values. So all those points that we are going to discuss here for the next 40 minutes will be just proposals. So they are not any prescription, I want to say. They are just proposals. You would have heard about it already, therefore I don't need to elaborate it too much about that. And in fact, we will just take, they need not be true or false. And we are letting this to you to verify and conclude. So it's not any prescription, as I told you in the beginning. They're all just proposals. So don't take something as true or false. You just verify and conclude about that. That is what is the introduction whenever we start to talk about universal human values, whatever it is. So now I just try another few minutes to tell you why these human values are required for students who have come for learning engineering. So this also would have heard from my predecessors who talked on universal human values. Just I want to add the point that I learned from listening to various eminent people of the country on universal human values. So the question is here in front of you. Just listen to the question. If I ask you about, you will have more fear about what? So you'll have fear about natural calamities, or you have fear about wild animals, or you have fear about inhuman behavior of human being. So what I mean by inhuman behavior of human being, I don't need to explain it. Hope you will understand from the recent happenings that is coming to your mind immediately when I speak about it. So again, I repeat, the question is, your fear more about what? Is it about natural calamities, wild animals, or inhuman behavior of human being? Of course, we have fear about all of them, but you have more fear about what? Then many answers may come to your mind. So just I pass on to the next one. I am proposing, as I told you in the beginning, I'm not making this as a statement. This is a proposal. I have more fear about inhuman behavior of human being. Then comes the next question. Why the natural calamities are making more disastrous things, and wild animals? Very sure I cannot be alive after I meet the wild animal. Then why I have to say that I'm having more fear about inhuman behavior of human being? Inhuman behavior of human being is the point that you have to note. The answer, when I listened to it first time, so I surprised to see the answer. Natural calamities, I know pretty well that what kind of damage it may make on me. Therefore, I'll plan in the beginning itself how I had to get rid of this problem of natural calamity when something is happening around me. Say a hurricane, a cyclone, or like corona. So these kind of things, when I come to know, then immediately I can take some precautionary measure, because I know pretty well how it will play on the world around us. So it has a definite pattern of behavior. So it is pretty sure that it will be very dangerous for the human being. Therefore, we'll be taking all the precautionary measures to escape from it. Wild animals, yes, the same thing. When I see a lion just 50 meters away from me, then I'll just plan how I can escape from that. Can I hide inside my car? Or what I have to do just to escape from it? Because it's pretty sure that it will be definitely attack me if I go close to it. Therefore, the natural calamities has a definite pattern. Wild animal, it has a definite pattern. So I know pretty well they all will be very harmful for me. Therefore, I plan to escape from them. But when it comes to inhuman behavior of human being, you just think of a human being just 50 meters away from me. So how can I think that he'll be very dangerous to me? Or how can I think that he'll be friendly to me? You cannot decide. So if you're seeing a stranger, you cannot understand what is going to be for you. So is he here to help you, or is he there to give you some sort of trouble? So what is the problem now? So though all natural calamities, wild animals, and inhuman behavior of human being, let's leave inhuman behavior, you just take human being, then we have fear about natural calamities, wild animals, and inhuman behavior of human being. But when it comes to natural calamities and wild animals, I'm pretty sure the pattern of them is definite for me. But the pattern of a human being, I cannot predict. Maybe good or bad. What is his intention? I don't know. How he will behave with me? I don't know. Therefore, that is the problem That is why I'm proposing that we have to be more fearful about a human being because we don't know his intention. So we are surprised to hear the point that I'm proposing, but I'm pretty sure that you will accept my proposal. So now, as I told earlier, why this is more fearful? That is because of his indefinite context. Listen to that very carefully. It's because of indefinite context. Suppose if I'm pretty sure that this will be the conduct of a human being, if the conduct of a human being is definite, then I don't need to be scared of. So I'm scared of a human being just because the indefiniteness of his conduct. So now the question is, why his conduct is indefinite when even wild animal, whether it is good or bad, when it has a definite conduct, why there is indefinite conduct for a human being? That is because this second proposal, human is not harmonious with society. If I doubt that there may be some harm by a human being, that must be because the human is not harmonious with society. When I see a human who is harmonious with society, I don't need to fear about him. But I don't know whether he is harmonious with society or not. I don't know. Therefore, the fear of the human being is just because I don't know whether he is harmonious with society or not. If he is not harmonious with society, then definitely it will be harmful for them. So it may be human is not harmonious in family. When I say he is not harmonious with society, then there may be a reason that he may not be harmonious with his family. That would have come out that he is not harmonious with society. Therefore, the indefinite conduct of the human being is now tracked. When I tried to track it, I could see that is because he is not harmonious with society. Why he is not harmonious with society? Then I'll just try to introspect, or I try to see into that. I try to get the insight into that. Then maybe that he is not harmonious in family. Therefore, he is not harmonious with society. Then why he is not harmonious with family? Is it because the other members of the family or something else? Then when I try to look into that, sometimes I may see that maybe human is not harmonious as self and body. He is not harmonious to himself. So these are the reasons. If it goes in propagation, maybe he is not harmonious to himself. Therefore, he cannot be harmonious to his family, and therefore he cannot be harmonious to society. Or sometimes he may be harmonious to himself, but in the family he may not be harmonious because of the members around him, and that would have made him inharmonious to society. Therefore, now see, if you go back on the points that we made, why we scared about inhuman behavior of a human being compared to wild animal and the natural calamity, that was because of indefinite conduct of a human being. That indefinite conduct of a human being is because of any one of the reasons. Not harmonious as a human being. He is not harmonious to himself. So let us assume that he is not harmonious to himself. Let us consider that point. Then that would have got propagated to the inharmonious nature of him to family and to the society as well. Now, why he is not harmonious? We are logically analyzing what is the reason why we have to be scared of inhuman behavior of human being. So we could understand that it was because that he was not harmonious with society. Then the question comes, if he's not harmonious with society, then what is the reason for that? We would have already taken 2 points, that it must be because that he is not harmonious with his family, or he is not harmonious to himself. Then the question comes like, why he is not harmonious to himself? Because there may be people who are harmonious to themselves, then why that one that I'm just analyzing is not harmonious to himself? Then in fact, at individual level, you see to these points, it's quite interesting. Again, I'm saying you that these are all proposals. You can differ from the opinion that I'm presenting to you. You can just try to explore if you're differing from the proposals that I'm making. You have all the freedom. So in fact, at individual level, human being will be in harmony if there is respect for self and required physical facility for body. Maybe what I'm speaking is too much for your age, but still it is very much understandable. I don't think that it is difficult for capturing it if you start to listen to it. So what I'm saying now, why is not harmonious is the question that I want to try to have answer. So I am thinking like this. Every individual will love to have respect and the required physical facility. Understand the point I'm talking about, required physical facility. If any human being is having respect and the required physical facility, then he will be definitely happy and he will be in a harmonious state. If anyone is missing, respect is missing or physical facility is missing, that is where the whole problem may start. He may become inharmonious to himself. That will be coming out as he is not harmonious to his family, and in turn he may be inharmonious to the society. Therefore, why we felt scared of human being rather than for wild animals and the natural calamity is because he may be missing respect for his self and physical facility, required physical facility for his body. You can very well analyze from the happenings that you are able to recall from your memory that what had happened, which was very bad. It should have ended in any one of these two. He would have not received the respect for his self by the people around him, or he would have not have enough physical facility or required physical facility for his body. So now the question we've analyzed further. Remember, I told you in the beginning, I'm just trying to give you the justification for why we are having this value education, why we are talking about universal human values for such a long sessions every day. So there must be justification for that. You have to understand that it is very much associated to your next 4 years that you're going to have your education about engineering in Amrita. So hope the logic that I'm taking, the chain that I'm building up must be okay for you to understand. So as I told you in the beginning, you may differ. If it is differing, you can just make a note of all the points very well. Hope we will meet very shortly in the campus after this pandemic getting over. By the time, I'm very much open. Not only me, any of the faculty here who will be responsible for this universal human value teaching will be very much interested in taking your proposals and we can analyze it. So now the last point we had is about the inharmonious nature of the human being to the society must be because, I should not say must be, maybe because he is missing his respect for self and he may not be having required physical facility. So that is where the next question comes. Misconception. Let me talk about misconception here. Respect is also associated to body, but not for self. You can very well understand what I mean by that. We will respect a human being just for his wealth, or just for his dresses, or just for his appearance, or just for where he is coming from, or just for he is from this family. So that is not the right conception about the respect. Respect must be for that individual, for that self. not for the physical facility that he is possessing. So from which family he is from? Yes, we are immediately thinking about the physical facility around that family, or his wealth or his appearance or whatever it is not right. It must be for the self. So there is a lot of misconception in the society that respect is for all the other points that I spoke rather than for his self. So once you associate respect to these things, then respect is not to the self, then respect is also associated to body. That means it is also associated to physical facility. Physical facility includes everything, the appearance and everything that I am talking about. So next point, when you come, therefore, respect is assumed to be associated only to physical facility, not to the self. So this leads to accumulation of disproportionate physical facility. Therefore, I understand I can have respect only when I have physical facility. So then I start to accumulate physical facility. So where it will stop? There is no point of stopping there. I understand the respect for me will be proportionate to the wealth I am having. Then I'll start to accumulate the physical facility. So it will become disproportionate for me. Disproportionate in the sense, in the population of the whole world, what is proportionate to me? Only that much must be desired, must be, I should look for it. If I think more than that, if I aspire more for physical facility, then it will be disproportionate. It is not proportionate to me. It is not my share. I am trying to take the share of somebody else as well. Therefore, this leads to accumulation of disproportionate physical facility. So that may lead to domination, exploitation, etc. So when that happens, then naturally human being will be dangerous, more dangerous, or we will be more scared of human being, or inhuman behavior may be possible if he is not understanding the respect is for self, it's for the physical facility. Then he will start to acquire disproportionate wealth, and for which he may have to dominate, he may have to exploit. So this is the reason why the human being is having indefinite contact. So if you take all the sequence of the points that we made, you could understand now the indefinite contact is caused by the misconception. So that may lead to people to be scared of that in such a person who is having indefinite contact. So now we are just trying to understand what will be the relationship between happiness and harmony. So hope you will understand what we are speaking now is not like your science and math, which you have a lot of experience to understand from the classroom. But what we are talking now is something about what we may have to learn in addition to science and engineering. That's where we are taking a bit about how I have to understand my life, how I have to understand my responsibility. So for which you have to be harmonious to yourselves, you have to be harmonious to your family, and you have to be harmonious to the society. And of course, you have to be harmonious about nature as well. So now, how you can associate harmony to happiness? You just see to this point. The needs for a human being to be in harmony can be fulfilled only when there is right understanding. So what we have seen in the previous slide is misconception about the respect is not for self, respect is for the wealth or whatever, or for the physical facility, then it is a misconception. So now you come to the point, the needs for a human being to be in harmony. If you have to be in harmony, you need respect for the self and you need required physical facility for your body. So they are the needs I mean here. The needs for a human being to be in harmony. If you want to be in harmony, you need the required physical facility for your body and you need respect for yourself. They can be fulfilled only when there is right understanding. That's what we spoke in the previous slide, that misconception. Misconception is not the right understanding. So now you can be harmonious only when you have the right understanding. If you feel that the respect is for wealth or respect is for physical facility, there everything is lost. Then you cannot be happy at any point of time because it has unlimited aspiration. Therefore, the harmony can be fulfilled. The need for the harmony can be fulfilled only when there is right understanding. So this can be accomplished by the right education. I just give you a little time to understand the sequence of points we made right from the beginning about why we are scared of inhuman behavior of human being when compared to wild animals and natural calamities. We have built up the points related to that. And finally, we could understand that all those fear about human being is because of missing of right understanding. Therefore, if you want to have right understanding about things, then you should have right education. Remember, I told you in the beginning that I want to give the justification for why we are taking value education. Role of education is to facilitate the development of the competence to live with definite human contact. See how we are connecting education and definite human contact. So education has to give you definite human contact. It should give definite human contact in all human beings. Now comes the question. Does the engineering education that you preferred make it, or can it give the definite human contact? If it is the case, then yes, work is done. You can just go ahead with that. If it is not, then what we have to do for that? So if you have to make the conduct of the human to be a definite, then we need right understanding of things that require right education. Then is engineering education that you are going to have here for the next 4 years, can it give the right understanding? We are going to see further about them. So I'm just proposing here learning how to do. That means learning about skills, technology will be taken care by learning science and engineering. Therefore, science and engineering education will take care of how to do things. It will be giving you the skill and technology. But what to do, that will be value education. Before getting to know how to do, you should know what to do. So this is where the value education comes. Therefore, the question that we raised in the previous slide about does the engineering education give you the definite human contact in every one of us? The answer is not just engineering education alone, because it can teach you only how to do, but what to do will be given by value education. Therefore, we are blending the value education with the science and engineering education. So in addition to how to do that we are planning to learn, we are going to take what to do also. We are trying to understand what to do. That is what is value education, as I spoke already. So now I just give you little examples so that you can understand what I mean by what to do and the relationship between how to do and what to do. A simple example from my background I can give you. Technology gives us a lot of things like automobiles, plastics, borewells, etc. So bore wells have changed the life of agrarians. Few years back, when somebody felt that I don't have water to irrigate my crops, they started to drill the ground and they went much deeper and they could find water. Yes, they could irrigate better than what they had in the previous years. But is it long lasting? And you just think of automobiles. You can reach a place with much smaller time than the people could do before automobile was invented. Plastics, it had helped a lot in various different sectors. Like you can think of pipes. Earlier we were having pipes made by different materials, but later we could use plastics for pipes and so many things. But now, if you don't have a right understanding about them, like we talked earlier, when you're not having awareness about all these technology and the engineering facilities that we have, it will lead to what? So obsessive utilization without right understanding leads to depletion of underground water. We all know pretty well now, everywhere, though we could have the technology to take water from the deep earth, it's not long lasting. We are again feeling that the groundwater has gone so down, we could not have water for 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, etc. An automobile, if you're not able to understand how to use it properly, then we can see the loss of lives are happening around us. And plastics leads to diseases. So I'm just quoting few examples for you to understand. Just the education of science and technology is not enough. It must be added with the value education. That means how to do is given by your engineering technology, which gave us borewells, automobiles, and plastics. So what to do? So that is where what I have to do with them. If that understanding is not there with us, then that will lead to a lot of problems for individuals and family, society, and nature. This right understanding may be developed by the right education. This is what value education aims at. That is why we have been adding this universal human value session in all the orientation sessions we have. So just I wanted to give you the justification for why we are going with the universal human values. So this is justification for the value education, as I told you. Now, as I told you, they're all just proposals, but see, you can recall, or otherwise you may not be knowing, your parents may be knowing sometimes back, there were moral education. So there is a difference between value education and moral education. Moral education will be giving you prescription. These are the things that you can do. These are the things that you should not do. Do's and don'ts were given by your moral education. But value education is not that. It's giving you proposal and you have to see whether they are true or false. You have to experience and you have to start to adopt it. That's the difference between value education and moral education. Now, we'll go a little into the harmony in society. Of course, in the order like harmony in human being, then harmony in family, and then harmony in society. Every human aspires for happiness, prosperity, and in continuity. So human, you just ask anybody, they may be what you're aspiring for. So they will be giving you some answers, but you take them with further questions, you can finally understand that it all will be ending up in happiness. Happiness and prosperity. Prosperity we mean here, I should have something more to just share with my fellow people around me. So prosperity doesn't mean disproportionate something. It is something that is little more than what is required for me so that I can share with my people around. It is to be understood that it is not my share, then I should be in a position to share to people around me when they need it. And they must be in continuity. Happiness must be available. Happiness must be there continuously, and prosperity must be there continuously. So happiness means human being is in harmony. That we spoke already. Happiness is associated to harmony. Happiness immediately it makes the sense that the human being is harmonious at various levels. Human being is harmonious to himself. Human being is harmonious to family, and human being is harmonious to the society, and of course to the nature as well. Now, human being will be in harmony if there is respect for self and food for body as a human being. So this is for that individual. If he has to be harmonious to himself, then he should have a respect for his self, and he should have food for his body. Or if you go a little beyond, physical facility for his body, of course, food plus shelter, etc. So harmony will be ensured in the family by feelings. Harmony for self, we talked in the first point that it is respect for self and the physical facility for the body. Then when it comes to harmony in family, it is ensured by the feelings. Feelings, I mean trust. So if there must be harmony in the family, then each and every one of the family members should trust the other and respect the others. And of course, affection must be there between each one of the family members. Care must be given by one of the family members to the other. And guidance, reverence, glory, gratitude, and finally love. In addition to that, you should have the required physical facility also for family to be in harmony. So these points already my fellow faculty would have discussed about in the harmony in family. Therefore, I don't want to go much deep into that. We'll just go ahead. So I just talked about when a human being can be in harmony, it will be when he is having respect for self and when he is having physical facility, required physical facility for himself, or food and shelter for himself. And of course, harmony in the family will be ensured by feelings. So because this is between one human to another human, therefore there must be trust among themselves and respect, affection, care, guidance, reverence, glory, gratitude, and of course love at the end, along with required physical facility. If physical facility is missing, then family cannot be in harmony. So that also is required, but just required amount is enough. And family is the, just I want to give you the reminder that we are talking about the harmony in society. The family is the basic unit or building block of the society. When you talk about society, you have to understand what is society. Of course, we all know, then the understanding may be like society is built up of families. Therefore, family is the basic unit or building block of the society. Society is composed of families living together. So living together is important. Families are not aloof. All families are connected, making collective effort for a common goal. All the families that are there in the society should have a common goal, and they all should live together. So I'm just leaving out all the negative points that we may feel around. So this is not the fact that is happening now in my age. So let's not think about that. Let's talk about the positive points of that. We want to overcome all the negativity of what actually is around, for which only we are taking now value education along with the education which is going to give you how to do. So we are going to learn in addition to that what to do also. And of course, what should not be as well. Society is composed of families living together, making collective effort for a common goal. Right. So the base of harmony in society, this is the next point. We understand how society is made up of families. And families must be living together and they should have a common goal. That's fine. Therefore, I could understand the relationship between family and society. And now the next question. The base of harmony in society, therefore, naturally must be associated to harmony in family. So without harmony in family, it will be impossible to have harmony in society, because society is, after all, the collection of families. Therefore, the base of harmony in society will be possible only when there is harmony in the family which constitutes that society. So the base of harmony in family is quite natural. Family is made up of human beings, or rather than saying made up of family, is collection of human beings. Therefore, the human beings must be in harmony to themselves. So if society has to be in harmony, then families which constitutes the society must be in harmony. And family has to be in harmony, then human beings which constitute the family must be in harmony to themselves. So families living together in a relationship of mutual fulfillment. This is the important point that we have to capture now after coming to the harmony in society. Families living together in a relationship of mutual fulfillment. One should give the other and other should take from the one. So only when that is happening, then we can say mutual fulfillment. So one family cannot have everything. One human being cannot have everything. Therefore, they are associating with other human beings so as to make a family. Similarly, family, one family cannot give or cannot take everything in a society. So every family will be contributing something to the society. That means it will be contributing to every other family in the society. And similarly, every family has to give something to the society as well. Say, for example, every one of our family is doing our work or business, and that will be for the need of the society, and similarly the others. So you are going to give, and in turn you are going to take as well. So that is how we can look at society. That is the responsibility of the families to the society. Therefore, families are living together in a relationship of mutual fulfillment. That is a mutual relationship. Therefore, I'm expecting something from one family, and of course, I'm having the responsibility of giving something to the other family as well. So now, what is common goal here? So common goal, you just see to this point carefully. Every individual is having the right understanding and right feeling. Every individual is having the right understanding and right feeling. This is the proposal. This is the common goal. I'm not saying that it is prevailing there, but I'm telling you that this is what is wanted. Every family is prosperous, and there is fearlessness and trust in the society. All human living in mutual fulfillment and coexistence with the nature. This should be the common goal when you are having so many families that are constituting the society. So mutual fulfillment we talked about, then only they can have relationship. So the common goal for the whole of the families or for the society must be this, or the elements or the ingredients of the society must be this. Every individual is having the right understanding and right feeling. This is in the level of individual. And at the level of family, every family is prosperous. Family must be prosperous. Prosperous, I already talked about what do we mean by prosperous. It must be in a position to share to other family what they have. And there is fearlessness and trust in the society. As far as society is concerned, it should have no fear and it should have trust on the others, irrespective of various factors in it. All human living in mutual fulfillment and coexistence with the nature. This will be the common goal that we are proposing for the elements of the society. Now, all the four mentioned about individual, family, society, and nature are essential. This is again proposal. If you have the argument, no, all four are not essential, then you just keep your argument. We'll discuss while you come back to the campus of the pandemic gets over. It's all open for all of you. And then where it should start. So if all four are important, the harmony or individual is important for society and family is important for society, and the points that we're making here, individual is having right understanding and right feeling, family is having prosperous, and society is having fearlessness and trust, all human living in mutual fulfillment and coexistence with nature, then the question we raised is all the four mentioned about individual, family, society, and nature are essential. Then if all of them are essential, suppose we agree, then where it should start? It's quite obvious that it should start from individual human being. There should be no difference of opinion about that, I believe. Thus, justified the purpose of value education to have a harmonious society. So you can understand now, previously I talked about the harmony in society that needs something on individual and something on family and something on society. Therefore, that will be, if all four are understood to be necessary, then we understand, then we ask the question where we have to start with. And the answer is it should be evidently from the individual human being. Then if the individual human being, if you think, then the individual human being should have right understanding and right feeling. Then if you want the individual to have right understanding and right feeling, that requires value education. Of course, people, even without going through this value education, they themselves may have all these values embedded. That's very much possible. But when we are coming for learning, why can't we add this also along with how to do? Why can't we add what to do as well? That is the reason we are taking this value education. Therefore, it should start from individual, even if you think of harmony in the society. Harmony in the society is in turn is made up of harmony in family, and that is in turn made up of harmony in human being himself. Therefore, that needs value education to have right understanding and right feeling. Suppose if there is no right understanding, if there is a misunderstanding, that right understanding is not there, then the individual thinks that the happiness is in money. So happiness is harmony. Harmony for a human being will be one for self, another for body. For self, it is respect, and for body, it's physical facility. Money, I am associating it to physical facility. When the right understanding is not there, as he spoke earlier, then he may not be bothering about the respect to others. He will be respecting only based on the physical facility. So maybe on money, then that will lead to trouble in the human being and it will propagate. This leads to families to try to accumulate more physical facilities. So to understand this point, you just see to this link. When right understanding is not there in the individual and he start to think that the happiness is in money, the harmony can be there when I have enough money, not respect, then this will lead to families. Earlier one is about individual. So such individuals collected together, which forms a family, that leads to accumulate more physical facilities than it is required for them. They will take the proportion of others. They will take the share of others as well. This leads to domination. So that's quite obvious. If I want to acquire more physical facility, then naturally I will try to dominate somebody so as to take their share as well. And I will exploit. And that leads to fear in the society. When I have domination, when I have exploitation, naturally that will create fear among others in the society. This leads to exploitation of the nature. That is not over just with the society alone. It will exploit the nature as well. So misconception will result in obsession for consumption, profit, and sensual pleasure. This is quite obvious. If the right understanding is not there in the individual human being, then as we spoke earlier, that will lead to acquiring more physical facility. That means obsession of consumption. So we'll have obsession over consumption, I want to consume, then the share that is there for me, I want to take the share of other as well, and I want to consume that also. I want to take more profit without bothering about the other's share, and I will be much interested in sensual pleasure. So as accumulation is not possible by every family, there will be conflict. If this started to happen, if accumulation started to happen, then accumulation may be because of some power, physical strength or whatever, then that will lead to the situation where every family cannot take their share. When they're losing their share, and of course, they are thinking more than their share, when even they are not able to get their share, then there will be conflict naturally. Thus, it will lead to terrorism and war in society and depletion of resources in nature. Among people, if you consider, it will be terrorism and war. If you think of nature, then it will be depletion of resources in nature. So these are all because the right understanding is missing in the individual. So how it propagates from individual to society and nature, you understand, it's all because of misconception or misunderstanding, or no right understanding is there. So education and removing our misconception in individuals is required to attain the common goal. Common goal, recall again, the individual must be having right understanding and right feeling, and family, every family must be prosperous, and there must be fearlessness and trust in the society, and all human living in mutual fulfillment and coexistence with the nature. These are the common goals. Then now, if you want to attain common goal, right understanding there must be there in the individual. That will be possible by the education. And health and production in family. Family has to be in prosperous. That means they should have health first. And of course, production. Production means they have to do their product. And of course, justice for the society, which alleviates the fear, and it creates a trust in the society. And exchange and storage in nature, that will lead to avoid the depletion in the resources of nature. And right understanding about what to do as a human being, right feeling to line in relationship with other human being as a family, society, and right skill for prosperity. See to this different rights, right understanding, that must be in individual human being, and right feeling by every human being to the others in the family, and of course in the society as well. Right feeling includes the trust, respect, and care, guidance, affection, glory, gratitude, and love, everything. So that must be the feeling we say, that must be there, that must prevail in the human beings as a collection in the family and society. And right skill for prosperity. Prosperity needs right skill. Then we ask the question, what do we mean by right skill? We already know what is right understanding. Right understanding is respect is not for physical facility. And of course, right feeling is I should have trust. I should have trust on my fellow people. I should have respect for my fellow people, etc. And then what is right skill? The capacity to identify the need of right amount of physical facility. That is the right skill. I should know that. And practicing the sustainable production as an engineer. That is a right skill. Therefore, these are all the qualities of an engineer, so that you will have the right skill and you will not exploit the nature. You will not take the share of others, and that will lead to the harmony in the society. So that needs right skill. Now, these are all the points that I wanted to share with you about the harmony in society. So of course, when we want to talk about harmony in society, it is again boiling down to the harmony in the human being, which was spoken earlier by my fellow Universal Human Value faculty. Therefore, I added a little bit than the points that you collected already about the harmony in human being and harmony in family. Just little more is added when it comes to harmony in society, and the necessity for you to have value education. I just wanted to justify with the proposals I made. As I told earlier, all those things are not prescriptive statements. They are all just proposals. You can have a difference of opinion about what we spoke for the last half an hour or so. You can just take your points. If you are not accepting with the proposals we are making, we can discuss in later time. And now these are all some points that are taken from the past media about something that is the exploitation of the nature. So 1/3 of world's food goes waste. So how much is there a misunderstanding? How much has to be consumed? How much has to be produced, etc. So all those things are our responsibilities. We have to see that we are having the right skill to understand what is our right, amount of things that we had to possess, or we should, how we can think of sustainable production. And you see here the highlighted point: global food production is 6 times the requirement. Global food wastage is 1/3 of production. Wastage is enough to feed 1,300 crore people per year. So these are all the things that we have to worry much about, and we have to think how, as an engineer, how as a human we can contribute to avoid and contribute to utilize it effectively. So having understood right utilization, these are the questions that is being raised here. I just leave this question to you to just think of, and is it a question of production or is it a question of relationship? Because they are telling that rich countries are just putting extra amounts of grain that they manufacture, just they're not sharing with the fellow countries, they are just putting it in sea. So those are the points that are raised here, because there is it a question of relationship? Is it a question of right understanding? It's a question of right education. Sanskar. We have to have the right education to have everything in the right way. And we have to see that in the coming 4 years, along with your education on engineering and science about how to do, you should learn what to do as well. And in that sense, value education will make you a much better human being when you are going to become a good engineer by means of your engineering education. So these are all the points that I wanted to share, and the title Harmony in Society. Thank you for patient listening, and thank you for the organizers to give this session to talk about harmony in society here. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir, for that thought-provoking session. Now we come to the next event. I am meditation technique, integrated Amrita meditation, a simple and powerful meditation created by our beloved Amma, renowned humanitarian and spiritual leader. I am technique is a simple combination of yoga, pranayama, and meditation that takes just 20 minutes a day. It is a meditation technique for modern days. The technique is a synthesis of traditional, time-tested methods suited for the current mental conditions, time constraints, and needs of modern man. So we'll be playing a video on the integrated meditation, Amrita meditation.
Living and working in the frenetic grip of a 24-hour society, the modern-day human being is forced to live with its major repercussion: stress. Constant stress causes continual release of various stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, which cause a depletion of energy reserves, resulting in fatigue and burnout, rise in the number and intensity of destructive emotions, irrecoverable damage to interpersonal relationships, memory loss and loss of concentration, high blood pressure and ulcers.
Medical research has proved that stress leads to increased likelihood of infectious diseases.
As high levels of cortisol in the bloodstream reduces the number of white blood cells, which are the infection-fighting army in our blood. Stress is also a major risk factor for a variety of diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular ailments, and mental illness. Stress-related ailments like chronic pain, hypertension, and headache alone account for 64% of all job absences. Industry loses an estimated $250 billion annually from stress-related ailments. As yet, there is no effective pharmacological therapy developed to treat stress. People are treated for symptoms of the diseases caused by stress and very rarely advised on behavioral therapy and lifestyle changes. No wonder that there is no reduction in stress-related problems faced by society today. Everybody is desperately seeking the ability to create an internal stress-free mental environment so that one can function effectively in the extremely challenging situations and roles that modern-day life thrusts upon us. Today, humanity is in dire need of silence, relaxation, and a stress-free life. Humankind desperately hankers for some peace and a little space in life in order to become creative and to be productive and successful. Let us have a look at how meditation causes a reduction in stress.
The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, are almond-shaped clusters of neurons located within the temporal lobes of the human brain, which triggers the release of stress hormones.
fMRI is really a procedure that allows us non-invasively to see what parts of the brain are working more than other parts at any point in time.
Clinical studies using the fMRI have shown that people who are clinically depressed or those with anxiety disorders have a hyperactive right prefrontal cortex. The right prefrontal cortex cannot regulate the functioning of the amygdala. However, the left prefrontal cortex can regulate it. When we feel emotionally stable, good, and in control, the left prefrontal cortex is active and the right prefrontal cortex is quiet. People with an active left prefrontal cortex hardly ever have a bad day. Most people lie in the middle. Dr. Daniel Goldman, author of the best-selling Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ, states that, due to the neuroplastic ability of the brain, the activity of the left prefrontal cortex can be remarkably increased within just 2 months of practicing regular meditation. This has been proven by the use of the fMRI on people who have just begun the practice of meditation. Amma, the spiritual master who synthesized I Am, integrated Amrita meditation technique, says, the remote control of our mind should rest firmly in the palm of our hand. Total and complete mental control. This is what I Am meditation offers. The integrated Amrita meditation technique is a simple combination of yoga, pranayama, and meditation that takes just about 20 minutes a day. The technique is a synthesis of traditional time-tested methods suited for the current mental conditions, time constraints, and needs of modern man. It is taught for free throughout the world.
You might say that the meditation is a self-guided style of meditation, so that there is some mental or physical activity right the way through, which makes it perfect for anybody from beginner level to advanced. That's my opinion, and I'm somebody who teaches meditation and yoga. I found that the sequence, which is relatively short, it's less than 30 minutes, and it takes you nicely to a more relaxed and more focused point, which finishes with complete physical relaxation, Shavasana. So if you're looking for a simple, very easy, very short form of meditation that I think is very, very effective, try I Am meditation.
In our study, we looked at the impact of Integrated Amrita meditation technique on psychological, physiological and biochemical parameters in 150 college students. The subjects were randomly divided into 3 groups: the IAM group, or the Integrated Amrita meditation technique group, the Progressive Muscle Relaxation technique group, and the control group. In case of heart rate and respiratory rate, we found a significant drop after 2 months of practice, which sustained till 8 months on regular practice. The major stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, were also analyzed in the study. Adrenaline, which is a hormone which is secreted in our body in response to immediate exposure to stress. There was a significant drop after 48 hours of practice itself, which sustained till 8 months on regular practice. In case of cortisol, a significant drop was seen only after 8 months of regular practice. The major immunoglobulin IgA was found to be increased in the IAM practitioners in comparison with the PMR group and control group. The most significant finding in our study was the impact of the technique on attitude towards stressful events, which were recorded using Life Changes Stress Scale. For example, if a person rated major loss of income as severely stressful before the commencement of the training, after regular practice of the technique, the scores to this particular stressful event decreased significantly. The results of the study has encouraged us to design further studies on the impact of the technique in diabetes, migraine, and even stress responses in professionals as such in the society.
The turbulent sea is calm underneath. The ripples and the waves are only on the surface. The stormy sky is innately still. The clouds are only transient. Effects of meditation are simple and yet as poignant as the calm waters of the deep sea or the still blue of a clear sky. So, even while you're rushing to meet your next target, studying to pass that next test and climb up one more ladder on your way to the top, remain relaxed by just investing 20 minutes a day for I Am meditation.
So our last UHV session, Harmony in Nature, will be offered by Dr. Nikhil K. Kothukar, Professor from the Department of Chemical Engineering. Over to you, Nikhil, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jansi, for the kind introduction. I'm Dr. Nikhil Kothurkar from the Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science. I'm going to share with you guys this session on maintaining harmony in nature. I was listening on to the previous session by Dr. Palanisamy about the harmony in society. And this is kind of a continuation of the same. So let's get right into it. Let me just figure out the controls over here. Yeah. So the reason we are discussing this is because at present, there is no harmony in nature. We have, not only have we, humanity as a whole, have we disturbed the harmony in human society, but also in the environment. You know, you have climate change, which is getting a lot of mention in the media, as well as even in our day-to-day lives. You have biodiversity loss, which is not mentioned so much, but it is actually, in fact, I would say it's even more serious than climate change. In fact, climate change becomes more serious because it leads to biodiversity loss. Because biodiversity loss means the loss of species. Once a species is gone, it's gone forever. You know, you cannot recreate that same species. So the loss of biodiversity, I would argue, and many people would argue, that it is perhaps the most serious kind of loss, because we cannot create new life forms. You know? So other than that, you have pollution, you have ozone depletion, you have so many others, you know, habitat destruction, which in turn leads to biodiversity loss and whatnot. You know, all in all, this comes up to how much of damage we are creating in nature. And the amount of damage that we are creating, it's not so easy to quantify that, but one of the ways of quantifying that damage which we cause to nature in terms of the ecological footprint. What's the ecological footprint? It is how much of the Earth's regenerative capacity or the biocapacity we are consuming. So we do some damage to nature, but nature has some mechanisms to restore the damage. Now, that's a limited capacity. It's a finite capacity. How much of that capacity are we using? And it turns out that right around what you see over here is right around 2010, a little earlier than that perhaps, is when they calculated that the damage that we are doing to nature is about 1.5 times what the Earth can renewably recover. So we had exceeded the Earth's biocapacity by 50%. And we are on a very steep trajectory, so much so that by 2050, we might actually end up consuming, or we are projected to be consuming roughly 3 times the Earth's biocapacity. Now, obviously, at that level of consumption or at that level of damage that we are doing, we are not only damaging the Earth in terms of consuming resources, but also in terms of producing waste. So both those effects of consuming, of depleting resources, and of producing waste is accounted for in the concept of ecological footprint. And although it cannot account for all the ways in which we damage nature, it is a good starting point. And I think it is very shocking to know that even before 2010, we were consuming 1.5 times what the Earth can restore. And by 2050, we are projected to be consuming a lot more. In fact, we might not ever reach that point before a collapse would occur. You know, the biosphere or the natural environment, nature as we call it, might not be able to withstand that enormous amount of damage. So before 2050, something serious might occur. This is the fear of a lot of scientists and a lot of environmentalists. And we have begun to see some really unpleasant situations. Unpleasant is a mild word. The pandemic and so many storms, floods, and so many the wildfires all over the world. These are very serious events. And in fact, what is predicted is that they will get even worse to a point of collapse of some very essential functions that the natural environment provides to us. So this is a really scary picture. There are various ways in which this impact of humanity on Earth can be measured. If you look at the land area that we use, right around 1700, the population was very small. Our impacts on nature, the small population also used very little resources compared to today. And since then, we've come a long way, and we are now consuming a lot more resources, as a result of which our impact on the land, the various ecosystems and habitats on Earth has increased and is going on increasing. And by 2040 or 2050, we don't know whether that level of damage is going to be sustained by Earth. And many people think that it's not going to be sustained. Just to give you a little more detail about this, the carbon dioxide levels, for instance, one of the aspects, of that damage. What are the different ways in which we damage nature? One of the aspects of that is emitting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. There are many other ways, but one of the ways of damaging the Earth is emitting carbon dioxide. And the amount of carbon dioxide, amount of extra carbon dioxide that we have been emitting in the Earth's atmosphere in the past couple hundred years is just enormous. If you look at the past 650,000 years, the carbon dioxide levels, they have fluctuated, but they have never exceeded more than 300 parts per million in the atmosphere. It's a concentration. 300 parts per million is a small concentration, relatively speaking. But the carbon dioxide has always remained under 300 ppm for the past 650,000 years. Then what did we do in the past couple hundred years? After the Industrial Revolution, we started burning fossil fuels like coal, and followed by oil and natural gas. The level today has exceeded 400 ppm, a good 100 ppm above what has been there in the measured record. Okay, the measured record of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere goes way back to 650,000 years. In that, we have never seen a situation where the carbon dioxide level rose above 300 ppm. Today, we are at 412, okay, by some estimates. That's really scary. And it's not like it's steady at 400, that we have to live with that level, new level. It's not that, because it's increasing every year. So it's getting worse and worse. And then obviously, as a result, you have warming. And if you see, there have been several heat waves in the recent past. You have large parts of India and large parts of the world where people have been dying due to heat waves. Unprecedented heat waves have been attacking different parts of the world in recent years. The planet is racing towards the 2-degree temperature rise. You think that 2 degrees of a temperature rise is small? It's not really that small. You talk about a 2-degree temperature rise in your body temperature. Is that small? No, 2-degree temperature rise in your body temperature would take you to the hospital, right? Similarly, even for the Earth, we are talking about a global annual average temperature. So in some parts, it's going to be cold like Siberia. Some parts, it's going to be hot like the Sahara Desert. But you take the average. And then again, in summer and winter, there are going to be temperature changes. So you average it out over the year. That global average temperature, if that altogether increases by 2 degrees Celsius, that's a big deal. Okay, and we ought to be really concerned about it. And that is going to raise the temperature, that's going to raise the sea level. Why? Because you have permafrost that will melt. There are glaciers in the mountains, they will melt. So the ice caps, polar ice caps, North Pole and the South Pole, they will melt. That melt water will pour into the oceans. You also have glaciers up in the mountains that is going to melt, pouring all the water into the ocean. So the ocean level is going to rise. When the ocean level rises, what happens to all your low-lying areas, which also happen to be heavily populated? Countries like Bangladesh, they are very low-lying. On an average, the elevation is very low. I would say a large number of huge metros are located along the coast, and they have these low-lying regions, and they are heavily populated. You're talking about a huge refugee crisis. These are climate refugees. They're not refugees due to a war, although we are causing that also. But this is due to climate change. Due to climate change, we are going to have a lot of refugees. In fact, whole islands in the Sundarbans region. Sundarbans is the region where the Ganga and the Brahmaputra meet the ocean. This is this large area having a unique ecosystem. You have mangroves. If any of you have heard of what mangroves are, you have mangrove forests over there. Wonderful, wonderful habitat. It is indeed something very unique on Earth. In that region, there are several small islands, and some of these islands, they had sizable populations. For example, you take Lohachara had about 10,000 people, but these islands are now sinking. Storms after storms batter their coastline and cause a lot of erosion, and finally those islands go underwater. So this is really shocking. It's very scary. This is right at our doorstep. I mean, it's not like it's not happening elsewhere, because it's happening elsewhere also. You look at these Pacific island nations, you have entire islands, just sinking in the ocean because the ocean level is rising. Now they are no longer habitable. So what do these countries do? Where do they go? Are the countries who are emitting so much of carbon dioxide, which is leading to the sea level rise, are these countries willing to take in all these people as refugees? And then again, even if they are willing to take them as refugees, why would these people want to sacrifice their homes, their countries? It doesn't even sound fair. There are several other aspects in which we are damaging nature. Which is leading to a water crisis for us. It's leading to a water crisis to the natural ecosystems. It is leading to a water crisis to us when we cut down the forests. The forests actually are huge sponges. They store the water that falls as rain. They store it in the soil. If there are no forests, all the rain that falls will get washed off, and it will go and flood the rivers. It will flood the habitation, the people who are living near the rivers. It will flood their houses, cause a lot of damage. And that water is, within a few days, it's gone to the oceans. Then what do you do during the summer? Then you have a drought. Whereas if you have forests, if you have preserved the forests, when the rain falls, most of the water seeps underground and gradually makes its way towards the oceans. During that entire slow journey of the water underground, you can always dig a well and you can get that water even during the summer. You can use it for agriculture or for drinking or whatever. Moreover, the forests, because they hold so much water in the soil, that water gradually gets released in the riverbeds, and the rivers remain perennial. They hold water for the entire year rather than flooding during the monsoon and going dry during the summer. So what forests do is that they maintain water in the river systems as well as in the aquifers throughout the year. But when you chop down all the forests, when you burn down all the forests, when you cause tremendous landslides in steep slopes where there are forests, you are destroying the forests, you are causing soil erosion, you are spoiling the nation's water resources. So this is really serious. And this, I just talked about forests, but then there are so many other ecosystems that also play. Wetlands, for instance, glaciers, another big contributor. All these, when you attack each of these ecosystems and places relentlessly, there is a price to pay, and that price is not small. It's very serious. If you look at the groundwater, in fact, a large part of India depends on the groundwater. You see the entire region, which is red and pink in color, those are regions where you have severe groundwater depletion. because people have dug millions of bore wells throughout the country, and they have powerful pump sets that they install over there, and they just extract the water without paying any attention to how much water is there in the aquifer and how much can be sustainably drawn. So water levels are going down year after year, decade after decade. This is again a very important problem. So we have problems on the issue of water also, not just climate change. And our agriculture depends on water. In fact, about 87% of the 87% of the water used in this country is used for agriculture. Now, agriculture, the irrigation that is for which the water is used in agriculture, the sources of irrigation are groundwater. Groundwater happens to be one of the important sources, or the major source for irrigation. So groundwater is getting depleted. When that groundwater gets severely depleted, where will you find the water for irrigation? And when you don't find water for irrigation, how will you produce food? So now you see what all is interconnected. You have climate change, you have the water crisis, you have deforestation, you have agriculture and food production. All these things are so intertwined. They are all integrated. We are causing problems everywhere. Where no matter where we touch, we are causing problems. This is the sad story. And if let's say we are causing problems with nature, okay, let us say we excuse that somehow or the other. We find it in our hearts to excuse that. At least, are we living happily as a society? Not really, because our society also happens to be in crisis. We can't stop waging wars with each other, killing and causing bloodshed. Terrorism, a new form of violence that perhaps was not even known in the past centuries, or at least was not so rampant and even institutionalized. But today we have terrorism. I mean, that scares the heck out of so many people. And we have poverty and hunger in society. We have health problems. Even individuals are facing crisis. You have so many health issues, mental health issues, very, very serious. So the society is in peril, and the previous session, I described it in a lot more detail. Yet somehow, instead of taking care of our society, we are spending most of our money in militarizing countries and populations. So basically, we are spending most of our money to kill people rather than solving problems that our society and the environment are facing. I just mentioned to you about food security. In the previous session also, you saw slides about food security. You saw this slide about between 25 to 33 or so % of all the food that is produced simply gets wasted. Okay, and that is not to mention the food that gets diverted as cattle feed or livestock feed. Because 20% of all life forms on this earth is harvested for food. 20% of living beings are given life or are allowed to live only so that they may be killed to become the food of somebody else. Okay, and this human beings are doing. Whatever happens in the natural ecosystem is fine. It's the wild nature. But I think human beings are, looking at these numbers, are we any less wild than the wild nature? And why should that be a problem? Because when you have limited land and a large population, if the human population follows a vegetarian diet, it consumes a fraction of the land to feed itself, as well as a fraction of the water and energy. An example, if a person decides to live only on meat, nobody can survive on meat alone. But let's say a person decides to survive only eating meat, the person would need 3 1/4 acres to feed himself, because you have to grow grass, then you have to have some herbivore like a cow or a goat eat the grass, and then you take the meat from that animal. So if you have to do that, you have to use a lot more land. Okay, and the reason is the trophic pyramid. Basically you become, rather than becoming primary consumers, a primary consumer is one who consumes plants. Instead of becoming a primary consumer, you're becoming a secondary consumer. So that's why you need a lot more land to produce the grass, which in turn will be fed to the herbivore, and then you feed on the herbivore. So whereas if you had a vegetarian diet, just in 0.2 acres, one person could comfortably meet his or her food requirements. So in a situation where our population is exploding and the land area ain't increasing, in fact, it is arguably it is shrinking a little bit because of desertification, land degradation, as well as climate change, because the low-lying areas are again getting filled up with the sea. So under such circumstances, we have to rethink our food preferences also. I did mention about population, and the population has just grown exponentially. If you look at it like for the past couple thousand years, if you get the entire curve, it looks almost exponential. Now it is slowing down, but it's not slowing down as fast as we would like it to slow down for nature to be able to cope with the stress that population is imposing. And it's not just a question of the population. Even if our population were half of what it is today, but the consumption levels, the levels of resource consumption and levels of production of waste, if that remained the same, I'm not sure, but even with half the population, I think we would still be unsustainable. So it's not just a question of what the population is, but how much it consumes and how much pollution it causes. It's a combination of the two factors. So the number of people multiplied by the per capita consumption of resources is what really creates the impact on nature. So we need to do two things. We need to reduce the population, and we also need to reduce the per capita consumption of resources and per capita production of waste. If we do that, then we are relatively safe. Otherwise, at this point, on both counts, we are failing. The population is too high, and the per capita consumption is too high. So we are not making it easy for ourselves. So if you just summarize, you have so many problems related to human beings at the individual level as well as at the societal level, which is shown on the left-hand side over here. And we also have so many problems related to the human-nature relationship. You have biodiversity loss, climate change, soil fertility loss. I've not spoken so much about that. You have water insecurity, food insecurity, and so many other problems, right? Now, why did all this happen? Because of development. We developed in the past few hundred years, especially, although development has been happening for a very long time, but the real significant changes, let's say, were in the past couple hundred years. And that really, the goal of that development was human well-being, to make people happy, to make everybody satisfied and have sufficient of whatever they need. That was the original goal. Even now, that is the goal of development. Unfortunately, that development, which initially promised to ensure everybody's survival, and over and above the survival, even the well-being or happiness of everyone, has not really kept up its promise. The well-being and even the survival of humanity, as well as a lot of species on planet Earth, is threatened. In fact, per hour, something like 2 species are completely wiped out from planet Earth. And I'm not talking about 2 individuals. I'm talking about 2 species. All the individuals in one particular species going out, okay, wiped out from planet Earth in just 1 hour. So that's the rate at which we are destroying species. I was talking about the biodiversity loss. It's actually known as the 6th mass extinction event that we are causing. This one is anthropogenic. Human beings are causing a mass extinction event which is going on right now due to all our activities. So development which promised to achieve survival, and later on, over and above the survival, even well-being or happiness of everybody, is not doing a great job at that. What we really need is sustainable development. Sustainable development is the kind of development that will last for an extended period of time, that is not going to cause a collapse of the biosphere, that is not going to cause a collapse of human society, but that which will continue to provide well-being and at least survival of everybody. And by everybody, I'd like to extend it not only to human beings, but also to nature, all living beings on this planet. Okay, we don't know about other planets, but we surely know that there are a lot of different species on planet Earth, and we ought to protect all of them. We are part of one system. We are part of one biosphere. So sustainable development is that development which ensures at least the survival of all species, giving each of them at least that chance for survival, and to ensure the happiness of at least human society. Whether you can ensure the happiness of other species or not is a different question. At least for human society, we should try our level best to ensure happiness. And then how do we move towards this goal of sustainability? The goal is great, but how do we actually move towards it? A report was published some years back, which talks about limiting growth. You know, every government, every finance minister of every country, every year stands before the country and presents the budget. And they only talk of growth, why the growth was less this year, or why the growth will be higher next year, and what all we should do to ensure growth. Everybody is talking about growth, but nobody is understanding that the planet is finite. Population cannot continue to grow monotonically. The consumption of resources cannot grow monotonically. Monotonically means one way, just increasing, not decreasing at all. Okay, CO2 levels in the atmosphere cannot continue to grow monotonically. Somewhere something has to give. We have to have some sense of balance. This is the understanding that some people developed, and it was about time. Unfortunately, a lot of people even today do not understand this. And if you look at the higher levels of government and of industry, I don't think anybody is even ready to, even in principle, ready to accept this idea that we need to limit our growth. In material terms, it should be limited. Growth in an internal and an intellectual way, that is great. There's no problem. However, growth from a physical standpoint must be controlled. Now, many people think that, oh, okay, we are doing a lot for the environment because we don't use plastic carry bags. We tune up our car engine. We plant a few plants in the balcony. And we separate our solid waste at home. So we are doing enough. We are sustainable. We are living sustainably. Okay. Unfortunately, it's great. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but it's insufficient. You have to see the magnitude of the problem and then assess the relative magnitude of our steps that we are doing. And not everybody is doing all these things. You know, the few people doing these few little things is not going to be sufficient to attain sustainability as a whole. Okay. Many other people have so many ideas, you know, like we should stop deforestation, we should plant trees, protect habitats, remove poverty and hunger and all that. But really, you know, we are missing one important point. Even if we follow each of these directions, even if we work, let's say I'm an expert in technology and I develop some renewable technologies, and somebody is an expert in wildlife and that person focuses on wildlife protection. If each of us individually do all these various things and so many other ideas that people have, you are not going to attain sustainability, because we are missing the interconnections, the interrelations between the problems. Like I was explaining, The water climate change is converting the perennial rivers due to glacial melting, as well as destruction of habitats. Climate change is converting the perennial rivers to seasonal rivers. So it is causing a water crisis. Simultaneously, our over extraction of groundwater is causing a water crisis. When you have a water crisis, it automatically causes a food crisis. When you have a food crisis, that goes hand in hand with the poverty that we have. So these are all deeply intermeshed problems. They cannot be solved in isolation. They have to be solved together. So what the understanding that we need is that we have the environment. Within the environment, you have human society. Within human society, we have different organizations, different entities like the government, the culture, different societies, communities, the economy, and our problems overlap both the social sphere as well as the environmental sphere. Like the food crisis, it has some social aspects, it has some environmental aspects. The water crisis also has some social aspects, some environmental aspects. So with energy and all other problems, I cannot represent all of them on this diagram, but what we need to realize is that there are interconnections. For example, the economy, the condition of the economy can affect either positively or negatively. It can affect the food crisis. It can affect the water crisis. It can affect the energy crisis. Government policy can affect all of these. You know, culture, people's culture can affect all of these. So unless we understand all these interrelationships between the problems, you cannot solve those problems. So people who try to simplify it by saying, just plant trees and everything is going to be okay, you are not even scratching the surface. Okay. So what is really required is not only a substantial amount of effort, but also a comprehensive effort, understanding those interrelations between the various problems. And the UN has proposed one such comprehensive effort. They are called as the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. These are the goals that all countries in the world and the world as a whole is to follow in order to attain sustainable development, or towards attaining sustainable development in the next 15 years. So these are the goals for the next 15 years to make sure there's no poverty. We eliminate poverty, we eliminate hunger, we achieve good health for everybody, and so on and so forth. So these are all nice things. Okay, but what is critical and which is often not understood by the novice, people who have an in-depth understanding, obviously they know it, but most of us do not understand that well, that it is going to require so much of coordination between the government, regulatory agencies, industry, NGOs, consumers, citizens, everybody. Okay, so it's going to require a lot of coordination. Now, I have a difficult question to raise over here. Even if somehow we follow those SDGs, all our governments, you know, they come together, they coordinate very well, the pollution control boards, the industry representatives, everybody comes together and they push all that 17-point agenda, the 17 sustainable development goals, they push them ahead and we attain sustainability, let's say at least something like sustainability for some time. What is the guarantee that it is going to last? Is it possible that it might revert back to the present state of social and environmental chaos? And you know, there is sufficient reason to suspect that, because we all came from societies that were already quite self-sufficient. To take an ancient village where all the construction materials, their life was very simple, all the construction materials came out of the land, all the food also came out from the land, all the waste went into the land, everything was biodegradable, it went back to the lands. So everything, you know, could be recycled, 100% recycling, from the human bodies to the human waste, to the building construction materials, to the parts and everything, you know, everything came from the earth, went back to the earth. So we lived, all of us, humanity as a whole, lived in more or less sustainable situations. However, we ourselves destroyed it willfully. Nobody forced us. we willfully destroyed it. Why did we destroy it? We had a drive for more comforts. We were not happy with what we had. We wanted more and more and more. The previous session was exactly about that. We had that drive for more, due to which we used technology, we developed technology, which was unsustainable and led to the present situation. People used to use wood. The wood was grown on their land. They used to cut the trees, use the firewood. That used to go as carbon dioxide. The existing forests used to absorb the carbon dioxide, convert it back into wood. It's a renewable resource. Wood is a renewable resource if not over extracted. If there's no over extraction, it is a renewable resource. But then what we thought, no, it's better to have methane or LPG. Okay, and we dug it from deep within the earth. A lot of the methane actually escapes to the atmosphere, making it even more dangerous for climate change. It's about 25 times more potent. And then we use that. So many examples I can give. Basically, our drive for more comforts has led to unsustainability. So what is the guarantee that it is not going to happen again? In fact, it might happen again. And the reason it might happen again is because we did not strike at the root. So I just want to propose this before you. Just as when a patient comes to a doctor and he reports many different symptoms, he has a fever, he has tiredness, he has a body ache, cough, runny nose, he goes to the doctor. Should the doctor only provide symptomatic treatment? Oh, you have a fever, let me give you paracetamol. You have a headache, let me give you aspirin. You have a stomach problem, let me give you some medicine for that. Does the doctor only treat the symptoms, or does he even try to find the root cause? Does he try to diagnose it first? Okay. A good doctor tries to diagnose what has happened first. So there are two things that the doctor needs to do. Yes, he needs to control the external symptoms. That is important. But that is not the entire treatment. He should also try to diagnose what is actually wrong with the patient and then cut the problem at its root. For example, if he finds out after many tests, he finds out that the person has malaria, then he knows what the course of treatment is. If he figures out that, oh, he has COVID, then the doctor knows what treatment is to be given for that. So he cuts the problem at the root. Through diagnosis, you identify, and then you cut the problem at the root. This is exactly what we need to do. The various problems that the earth is facing, the earth has a fever, that's called global warming. The earth is losing hair, that is called deforestation. The earth is really tired, okay? You can call it the ozone depletion problem, okay? So many issues are there. The same patient is having so many symptoms. Should we just treat them symptomatically, or should we try to investigate what the root cause is? I think a wise person should try to find what the common root cause is for all these various problems that we are facing. Some are environmental problems, some are social problems, but there is a common root cause. This is my proposal. You can investigate on your own. But a lot of thinkers of present times as well as in the past have realized that there is indeed a common root cause. So really, we need to hire a detective and try to find out what that root cause might be. Or we can turn to some wise people of present times who have thought a lot more than we have. Gus Speth is an environmental lawyer, and he has been an advisor to the President of the United States, and he has been he's chaired several task forces on environment-related topics. And what he says, it's really worth reading. He said, I used to think the top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that with 30 years of good science, we could address these problems. Through technological interventions, he felt that we could address the problem. But he says, I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with these, we need a spiritual and cultural transformation. And we scientists don't know how to do that. Just pause and think. This person has all the resources. He has the best science, the best technology. even access to the President of the United States. And this is what he says. And he's not alone. Okay. What we need is a holistic approach to solve this problem. And this is what you must have studied over the past several sessions related to the universal human values. What we lack is the right understanding, because of which our relationships are spoiled. We are prioritizing physical facilities, which is just the animal consciousness. It is really not worthy of human beings to even behave that way. And as a result, we are causing problems at the individual level. Our assumption, wrong assumption, misconceptions that we have is that money is everything. So we are obsessed with consumption for profit or for sensual pleasure. When we, as a family or as a group of individuals, we try to accumulate, we try to hoard. When you scale it up to the societal level, we develop societies that are based on domination and exploitation. Terrorism and war are the consequences of such a mentality. And in our dealings with nature, we try to master nature, we try to exploit nature. Nature is an object to be plundered, to be exploited for our benefit. All this starts with misconceptions. The right understanding is lacking. This is the cause of that. What we need to do is we need to replace that wrong understanding, the misconception, wrong concept, wrong understanding. That wrong understanding to be replaced by the right understanding that will not only solve all our relationship problems with human beings, leading to mutual happiness and a happy society, but it will also ensure that the physical facilities that we get from nature remain intact in a sustainable manner, that we can continue to use it, not only this generation, the future generations also. So this is the goal. We want to transform our mentality from this, what you see in the bottom left corner, this unhealthy kind of situation, to the top right corner, which is the healthy situation of mutual prosperity. We want to make this transformation happen. That is true progress, not simply increasing the GDP. Although increasing GDP might be required for up to a certain limit, but beyond that, it has no value, because it is going to plunder the environment and it is going to cause imbalances in society. So we want true progress. Now, this transformation is actually a spiritual transformation. This is exactly the message that our Chancellor some years ago gave at the United Nations before an August gathering of some of the topmost academics and technologists in the world. This was at the United Nations. The UNAI and Amrita organized a joint conference in which all the top leaders in academics and industry, they gathered over there. And Amma gave the keynote address. What is the keynote address? The keynote address is the main, like the central address given by an esteemed invitee who sets the tone for all the rest of the speeches. So Amma, our Chancellor, she was given the, she was to give the keynote address. And guess what she said? These were all technologists and academics. To them, what she said is that you people have come to discuss about technology for sustainable development. But if you only stop at technology for sustainable development, you would have missed the most important point. Sustainability is not lacking technology. What is missing is not technology. How to do, as Parnisami sir was saying, how to do comes later. What to do comes first. So this is the main thing that we are missing. So what she said is that there must be an integration between science and spirituality. I like to give this example that your chariot of life has two wheels. One of them is science, another is spirituality. Both should be the same, both should be equally developed. They should be the same size. You know, one cannot be small, another cannot be large. Unfortunately, what has happened is we have overemphasized science. By science, I mean all worldly sciences, including the commerce and economics and everything. Okay, so all worldly sciences are science, and all spiritual sciences are spirituality. Okay, so both should be equally developed. Then your chariot moves further. If one is small, the other is huge, your chariot doesn't go straight, it goes in circles. If you just detach yourself from your existence, your way of life, and look at it from outside, you will actually find yourself and many others around you simply moving in circles. That is so unfortunate. The reason is we have the left wheel of science is overdeveloped and the right wheel of spirituality is so small, it is tiny, as small as a marble. Okay, this is the reason for what happened. A few quotations that from Amma's speech. She basically said that the lack of harmony between humanity and nature has led to the conviction to her that science, technology, and spirituality must be united in order to ensure a sustainable and balanced existence on Earth. And the present age and the world around us, the chaos, the crisis that is happening, it demands this transformation, this integration of spirituality. We have divorced ourselves from spirituality. That is the most unfortunate thing. It should be integrated. It should be equally developed as science and all the other worldly endeavors. She, in fact, brought up this slightly uncomfortable topic. She said that, in fact, many past and present eminent scientists acknowledged spirituality towards the end of their lives, but by then it was too late. Amma prays that the scientific community leading the world today do not make that same mistake. There's no point in discovering at the end of your life that I didn't pay attention to that which deserved the maximum attention, and now my life is lost. And now it is not only going to be a question of my life lost or your life lost, it is going to be the life of the whole of humanity which is at stake. That is exactly the mission of Amrita, to bring about this synthesis of science and spirituality, of material development along with service to society, to bring this amalgamation of these two fields, which is what even our ancients have said. This is what our chancellor has said. This is what thinkers, even from the Western world, are saying today. There is a lot of agreement, a growing amount of agreement nowadays, looking at the current scenario. And that is why at Amrita, we have this twofold, this two-layered kind of education. We have education for life, which takes care of the spiritual part. It brings in the essential understanding of life, the goal of life, character, ethics, social justice, social welfare. That's education for life. And education for a living, which is your professional education. You might be a doctor, you might be an engineer, you might be a lawyer, whatever. So that is the technical and professional education. So that is the view that we have here at Amrita. And I think that is a view that is in alignment with social, environmental, and individual harmony. It is a path, or it is a view towards seeing a world that we have hardly ever imagined. It is a completely different perspective towards life and towards the world that we can develop if we imbibe these necessary values. That's all. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil, to share those thoughts of sustainable living into the young minds. Thank you once again. Here we come to the end of the forenoon session on this final day of orientation. You will be joining with your department team in the afternoon and get knowing the information on when your class starts and on the academic needs. In a couple of days, you can refer to the FAQs in intranet as the response for the non-academic queries which you raised. Wishing you all a very bright future, expecting and praying for the normalcy to return and all of us back into campus. Till then, Take care, stay safe, and don't forget to get done with your 2 doses of COVID vaccines. Thank you once again. Om Namah Shivaya.